Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel and the Galilee, and we're going to talk about what's going on in Syria, which is unbelievable. And I want to figure out where I put my water. Hold on a second. Where did I put it? I don't know where I put it. I have to go find another water. I think I got some. Not really. I got my water someplace. Where the heck did I put it? Hold on, it's gonna be around. Need my water. But I don't know where the heck I put it. Oh well. I'll have to deal with it. Alright. Oh, I got it. You're watching Jeremiah 49 fulfilled, getting fulfilled, in my opinion, and I'll explain it to you as we go. But this is big, and it's going to lead to Jeremiah 30, verse 11, and the same or similar verses in Jeremiah 46, verse 28. God destroys all the nations he scattered the Israelites into over time. Church never teaches this. Hey, don't blame me. I ain't the church. I'm a Bible believer. I'm a Jew from Levi. I'm actually a Cohen, descendant of Aaron, and I lived in Israel for many years. I wouldn't walk into the churches, okay? But I'm a believer in the Old and the New Testament and Yeshua, and I wouldn't go in those places because their doctrine is completely contradictory to the scriptures. And I'll reveal some of that to you as we go today. I'm going to go into, so I probably got rid of all the people that are, staunch church people that just look for confirmations of what Pastor Bob or Pastor Margaret teaches them. So I probably got rid of all the people that are, staunch church. I'm not going to bother putting anything up in the chat. Being an Old New Testament believer, I'm going to do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay, the rebel groups in Syria have taken 70 cities and towns over. They got most of Aleppo, they got Homs, they got several big cities, but it's going to get way more important than that. Okay, for instance, there's reports, and I haven't completely confirmed them, but they're somewhat confirmed, that the rebel forces are close to Bashar Assad's palace, which is in Damascus. And there has been, even back to yesterday, gunfire heard in Damascus. Damascus is the capital. Damascus shall be a Ruinous heap. That's the prophecy all you churchgoers know. And, the ones that have come out from the church also know. And you're seeing it. And you're also seeing right now the beginning of Elam being destroyed in Jeremiah 49. 49, along with other countries in Jeremiah 49. So I'll start off, number one, by reading this, but I want you to understand that Elam in the Old Testament days was composed of parts of Iran, Iraq, and Syria. So the parts that are affected are owned by Syria, owned by Iraq, and owned by Iran, and they're not going to give them up. So the destruction is, we could assume, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. I think that's a pretty reasonable assumption. Of course, we could go back and try to find out what parts of Syria were not in Elam, if there are any, and but I think it concerns all of them. Okay, so let me take you through the bottom of the ending of Jeremiah 49, and we'll go uh, through it. Jeremiah verse 34. The word of Jehovah that came to Jeremiah the prophet against Elam in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, saying. Now, the Zedekiah, it's explaining when the prophecy was given, not when it will be fulfilled. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. A bow shoots an arrow. A missile launcher shoots a missile. This is old times talking. But it appears to me, what is the strength of Iraq and Iran and Syria? They're missiles and drones. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. That's their most powerful weapon. And upon Elam will I bring the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and will scatter them towards all those winds, and there shall be no, it says nation, and the word is going in heathen, no heathen whither the outcasts of Elam shall not, it's a heathen nation, shall not come. They will go into every single nation around the world. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies, plural. Now, it could be America, the UK, and Israel, and NATO, but it looks like it's something else now. It's all these pro-Sunni type radical, murderous Muslim groups. Some are Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and so forth. But it's growing. Before their enemies and before them that seek their life. I'm going to develop this for you in a few moments. And I will bring evil upon them. There's a video I saw this morning where these rebel groups are going into the buildings and the houses in Syria, in the areas they took over, and they're ripping down all the posters and flags, the Ayatollah Khomeini jerk in Iran and all this stuff, Bashar Assad, and they're chanting death to the Shiites. They call them Shia. Death to the Shiites. They're not stopping with Syria. The church people can't fathom this, okay? But this is your reality. They're all hung up on Gog and Magog, which I keep telling you is going to be close to 70 years from now. I'm going to get into that more later. The Bible tells us in Daniel 9:24, but we'll deal with that later. Even thy fierce anger, saith the Lord, and I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. That's doom and gloom on them. That's what they wish to do to Israel. And I will set my throne in Elam. That means he's going to judge it. It's not going to reign from Elam. And will destroy from thence the king and the princes, saith the Lord. But it shall come to pass in the latter days, I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith Jehovah. That's why you see Persia, not Iran. Persia in Ezekiel 34. Persia was a great big place. Iran's not in the Bible. It's some country word they made up and they created their own geography. It's not Persia. Now, the church has no concept of this, but since I opened up the door on this, I'm going to go to Daniel 9:24, and I'm going to show you how 99.9% of every English translation twists the Bible. I'm going to prove it to you where you will understand it. Okay? Right now. All right? Every Hebrew manuscript going back to 900 AD says 70-70. The word in Hebrew is shavim. Sheva is 7. And they say sit sheva. It means you mourn and sit for 7 weeks, for 7 days. Okay? There's no biblical precept for that. That's Talmud stuff. It's not real, but that's what they do. Okay, so Shavim, 2 70s. Okay, Hamesh is 5 in Hebrew. Hamishim is 50. Okay? Tesha is 9. Teshim is 90. Sheva is 7. Shavim is 70. It's not a week. Everybody knows that. These people that write the study Bibles and the commentaries and the translations, they know they're lying. They know they're lying. I'll show it to you. Now, I'm going to put the Hebrew up. On the screen. Now, to understand what I'm doing, you got to understand that Hebrew goes from right to left. On the right-hand side, you're going to see the word DAN 9:24. And the Strong's numbers are next to it. And you're going to see that Strong's use 2 different numbers. Strong's is part of the church system. Strong's is one of the best. Okay, ways to interpret the original languages, but it's twisted. No publishing house could stay in business if they published works contradictory to the churches. The churches are their market. The people that came out from among them are not their market. They go bankrupt with that. Now I'm going to put it up on the screen. And you don't read Hebrew. I know that. Remember, right to left. You look at the 2 words going right to left where it says Dan 9:24, and there's 5 characters in each word. And you go through them and you'll see they're absolutely identical. I'll leave it up and you can pause it and look at it. They're absolutely identical. No translator that was honest would ever interpret this as 70 weeks. It's idiotic. It's idiotic. The first 70 was the Babylonian captivity, which Daniel was in. So he knew what that was. And the second 70, we'll read about. I'll show it to you. And the church never teaches it. Don't blame me for that. Blame them. Why the heck you want to blame me? I'm showing you what it really says. You want to reject knowledge, reject knowledge. But, what did Yeshua say? If you reject knowledge, I'll reject you. I'm going to also show you why the churches have already begun to fall apart. You wait till I finish. It says 70 are determined upon thy people. That's Israel. And upon thy holy city, Jerusalem, to finish the transgression. That's the great falling away. That's Gog and Magog. That's when it's all finished. And to make an end of sins. And to make reconciliation for lawlessness. They call it iniquity, for breaking the law. And to bring in everlasting righteousness. That means you're going to have everlasting life with that, as I read it. and to seal up the vision. That's all the bad stuff that happens to Israel in Daniel, and prophecy, all the prophets, or it could be just Daniel's prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Yeshua is not the most holy, okay? God anointed Yeshua when John the Baptist baptized him and he came up out of the water with the dove and all that, right? The word Messiah comes from the Hebrew word Mashiach, and it means anointed. His name is Yeshua. Ha means the, Mashiach, Messiah, Yeshua the anointed. The word in the Latin is Christos. It means anointed. The word in the Greek is Christ. It means anointed. His name wasn't Jesus Christ like John Smith. It was Yeshua the anointed. There's no J in the Hebrew alphabet. Yeshua's name could never have been Jesus. There's no J sound in the Hebrew alphabet. There's also no TH sound and other sounds. Okay? There's no way to express in Hebrew a J word, a word that has a J in it. It doesn't exist. God's name cannot be Jehovah. It's Yehovah, Yud He Vav He. It's not Yahweh. It's not Yawashkabu Baba Gabiba. That's it. Yeshua's name, Yesha, is the root word in Hebrew, means salvation. Yeshua would mean giver of salvation, source of salvation. That makes perfect sense to you, doesn't it? Okay? So you got to have the great falling away before you have Gog and Magog. And when you read Gog and Magog in Ezekiel 38, what do you read? Yeshua is living. I'll read it to you. Let's get it done. Let's cover it. Because as long as you stay confused in the church teachings, you're not going to understand what the heck is really going on around you. He names countries in Ezekiel 38:5. Persia, there you go. Ethiopia and Libya with them. All with shield and helmet. Let's go back up and get some of the other. In verse 2, it says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Well, they're all talking about this being Russia. As I'm going to show you later in the broadcast, Russia's goose is pretty much cooked. But let's keep going. And I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Gomer and all his band, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a God unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. There we go, same word, latter. Thou shalt come unto the land that is brought back from the sword. Is Israel brought back from the sword? You have to be a psychotic to think that is now. Okay? Why do they teach this to you? This is a requisite for Gog and Magog. Why do you sit under these enemies of yours that are wolves in sheep's clothing teaching you trash like this? Why? Do you want to be with them in the lake of fire? Think. You got a head? Think. Come into the land that's Haaretz, that means the land of Israel, that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, the heathen nations. No, it doesn't say that. Let's see what it really says here. From The people. It says from the people. And they shall dwell safely, all of them. So your teachers are telling you this is going to come upon you, and we're dwelling safely now, and it's going to happen any day. What is wrong with you? If you want to kick against me, please give us the scriptures in the chat. Nobody here is going to pay attention to any nincompoop that just goes in, oh, he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Give us the scriptures or nobody pays attention to you here. We're not like the church. There's more Jews living outside of Israel by far, very far, than there are in Israel. So they're brought back from the nations, not yet. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud and cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, and thou shalt say, I will go to the land of unwalled villages. You think we're the land of unwalled villages? Now, are you kidding? I will go to them that are at rest. You think Israel's at rest now? That dwell safely. You think we dwell safely? Where have you been? All of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. We got plenty of bars and gates. To take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited. They're still desolate. And upon the people that are gathered out of the nations. That hasn't happened yet, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? See, it says Sheba and Dedan. Sheba is probably not Yemen. That's I believe that's false. Yemen is Edom, and that gets destroyed. Dedan would be Saudi Arabia, so it's something around Saudi Arabia, I guess. Shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil, that thou gather thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver, gold, to take away cattle, goods, and take a great spoil? 28% of Israel lives at the poverty line before the war. Now it's probably 40-something%. You got to be kidding me. You got to be the dumbest person to believe people, I don't want to say it that way, but you got to wake up, and you've got a Bible. And if you're not going to follow your Bible, you're rejecting knowledge. And if you're going to go listen to these guys who follow their great commandment, go ye forth into all the world, and take money from those that want to press into the kingdom of God, and build a big building that you benefit from in your financial statement, but none of the poor live in it or benefit from it. If you want to follow that, take swimming lessons so you'll do better in the lake of fire. Let's see what kind of heat I'm taking in the live stream and what kind of trolls are here. Toss salad to the trolls. Can we chat live? What are you talking about? Someone says 70 years, we got 7 years max. That's church teaching, no scriptural basis, sorry. New Testament was not written in Greek, it was written in Hebrew. Oh gosh. You know, and what do we get here? Learn your scripture before we preach at Jezebel. Well, we can live without this nincompoop. Okay. Dominating the chat, of course. Toss salad. You see, when they dominate the chat, that's the Satan bot. Okay. All right. Let's go on. So you're watching the fulfillment of Jeremiah 49, and now we're starting to learn who the enemies are. The speed with which they're conquering Syria is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. Not in our lifetimes or anything like that. When Babylon was taken, you know, by Cyrus, the speed was even faster. But the rebels are calling for, I've seen the videos, they're calling for the death of the Ayatollah Khomeini guy in Iran that runs it. And they're saying they're going to go into Iraq and they're going to take out Iraq. So what are they threatening? Syria, Iraq, and Iran. That's Elam. They've got a lot of good weapons now because they've stolen them from Bashar Assad's Syrian army. Turkey's heavily involved in this, fighting against Bashar Assad. One reason is he has at least 2 million refugees from Syria in refugee camps in Turkey that he has to support and maintain. The Kurds are fighting, I think, against Turkey, and you've got Al-Qaeda there, you got ISIS there, you got Sunni rebel groups there trying to bring down Bashar Assad, and they're doing a good job, but it gets worse. The rebel groups are now approaching Latakia, Syria. What is in Latakia, Syria? 2 extremely big Russian bases. One is their main air base in Syria, and that's a few short kilometers from the water, and at the water edge in Latakia is a port, and that is Russia's Navy base in the Mediterranean. It's a warm water port, so it doesn't freeze and get ice. And it's Russia's only Navy base in the Mediterranean. The only one they have. Now, if NATO is going to fight against Russia, and they just said they want to put 100,000 troops into Ukraine to stop the onslaught of Russia, at some point, since nobody's talking peace between NATO and Russia, it appears that and there's no realistic peace talks with Zelensky and Putin, it appears that we're going to have a war with NATO and Russia. That is not rocket science. Okay? Does NATO want Russia to have a base in the Mediterranean? So from there, they could easily go to, Cyprus, Italy, and the Mediterranean? Of course not. Now, this is really interesting because the rebel forces are already in firing range of the Russian Navy base. I don't think they want to destroy the base as a first measure. I think what they want to do is occupy the base. If they occupy the base, it would be somewhat unlikely for Putin to run around and bomb his own base figuring someday he could rebuild it. He would not bomb it, because he would try to take it back somehow, some way, some shape or form. The air base, the same thing. So Putin has three other bases in Syria, but the big air base is Latakia. And the only naval base is the one in Latakia, or Latakia, however you want to pronounce it. So, Putin's about to lose his only Navy base in the Mediterranean. What do you think? I mean, it could be gone today or tomorrow or the next day. I mean, it's close. What do you think Putin's going to do? Airlift thousands of troops and parachute them down into the Navy base? Doubtful. Send troop transport warships over there and land them? Take too much time. Is Putin basically up the creek without a paddle? You bet. You bet. He's going to lose that base. He doesn't have troop concentrations in Syria. He has very few troops. He's got his hands full in Lebanon. In Ukraine, and worrying about NATO and protecting Mother Russia. He's not in a position to take thousands of troops and bring them over to Syria. And that doesn't work. You got to bring tanks, armored personnel carriers. You got to bring supplies, equipment, medical, food, ammo, missile launchers, helicopters, all this stuff. Radar and, S-400s. And it's a big airlift. It would take them a long time. And once the stuff was on the ground, before it was set up, the rebels would try to confiscate it. They took over an underground Iranian command center, you might call it, in Syria. This thing is so far down under the ground, it's going to sustain bombings. Okay. So now they got a nice hiding place there. They've taken over missile and weapon manufacturing factories, taken them over, not blew them up, took them over. Now, they probably got some inventory out of those places. They took over a chemical weapons manufacturing facility in Syria, and it would be very likely to assume they now have chemical weapons. America and Israel are now talking about blowing up. You listening to this? Hard, listen to this. Blowing up such weapon manufacturing facilities, conventional and chemical and otherwise, in Syria, and weapon storehouses, because they're afraid that these rebel groups will get their hands on them. And if they do, who will they use them against? Well, let's start with all the American military bases in Syria. They're not very interested if they knock Bashar Assad, if they knock out Bashar Assad, which they're well on their way to doing. They're not going to let America sit there and run bases and dictate to them. You think they want to have Biden give them phone calls and say, you do this or else? You think they're going to listen to that? Do you know Hamas just threatened Donald Trump over the Gaza ceasefire? They threatened him. Yeah, I believe the threat implied the use of drones. They threatened Trump. Now, do you think Trump is still pushing Netanyahu to settle it before January 20th with the hostages returned? Maybe. Maybe. What's wrong with that picture? The last negotiations we had with these criminally insane Hamas, they said that they would not return the hostages right away. They don't want a ceasefire. They want a permanent disengagement of the war between Israel and Hamas. They want foreign countries to join in as, for lack of a better word, enforcers of the ceasefire. In other words, the war is over. After that happens, and after Israel completely pulls out of Gaza, no buffer zones, no nothing, then they will talk about a hostage prisoner exchange. Typically, they'll want 100 or more terrorist prisoners in Israel for every hostage. Do we know they have any hostages at all that are alive? We do not. Have they given us a number count of the hostages alive? They have not. Have they let the Red Cross inspect the hostages to see what their condition's in? They have not. Have they given us any proof of life on these hostages? They have not. Have they given us their names? They have not. Nobody knows if there's any hostages that are still alive, or there could be 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that. They released a video of one. They might have kept a few to do proof of life videos or something, you know. What do? They tell the Israelis, well, we only got 4 hostages left. What's Israel going to do? The anger in Israel will go through the roof, and they'll be screaming for Netanyahu to pulverize Gaza. Okay? The right wing would be happy to shove him into the sea and reoccupy Gaza. It's major. So now that Hezbollah is deactivated, the Hamas wants a ceasefire with us. They didn't say end of the war, they went ceasefire. And on Saturday, they were in Egypt discussing terms with Egypt, who's working as the intermediary between Israel and Hamas. And Trump is saying he wants the hostages back. Some of them have American citizenship. I can tell you what I don't think is going to happen is that Hamas is going to say, okay, we'll give you, 47 of we have 47 hostages. We'll give them to you. Here's the names. In return, give us 47 terrorists out of the prisons. No, they'll say, give us 4,700 terrorists out of the prisons. And Israel's not about to do that. Hang on a second. Israel's not going to do that. I don't think Trump is going to sit there and tell Israel, well, give them 4,700 terrorist prisoners. Okay, that is not anything you're going to see. I've got to call the pet food store for a second. They're not calling me back. I've got to change the order because the office is not eating this food anymore. They ran out of our normal food. Yeah, hi. I'm trying to change my order for today, and I'm not getting too far. I ordered 20 cans of the Rafi, and yeah, I have an order for today. I started calling about 9 o'clock in the morning, and nobody's doing anything about it. What I want to do, I spoke to Shlomi, and he told me when the girl comes in, she'll call me. She's not calling. And all right, okay, bye. All right, thank you, bye, bye. Yafa's not. We get this normal brand of dog food, and they ran out. They I don't know what happened. They can't get it. They're trying to get it later this week. So they have a cheaper food that doesn't have any grains in it. So I bought that. The dogs ate it for a while. The big dogs eat it. Chief eats it. Yafa doesn't want to eat it, so she's losing weight. So I ordered more of that before the weekend, and now I'm watching her. She doesn't want to eat it, so I'm saying, said I have another kind of dog food from Italy that's pretty good. So I'm trying to switch the order. So I got a problem. Sorry to interrupt. All right. So the situation in Syria looks like it's going to fulfill Bible prophecy. It looks like America, UK, Israel, and Turkey are involved in this. Turkey has turned against Russia over this. Russia is trying to help Bashar Assad, and Turkey wants a buffer zone. I think he wants 15 miles. No Kurds within 15 miles of Turkey. Okay? Because there's Kurds in Turkey that could join with those in Syria and give Erdogan an overthrow, which I would not mind at all. The Kurds do not have an axe to grind with Israel. I think they're possibly lost tribes by the way they look. But I don't have anything solid on that. But they're not anti-Israel. They don't want to go kill the Jews. None of that at all. Okay, these Sunni rebels will kill the Jews. Now, there's a lot of church people in Syria, various churchianity, denominationally, derived churches in Syria, and these rebel forces that are overthrowing Bashar Assad would likely kill them. You heard me. Likely kill them. And I'm talking about maybe 20,000 people in Syria. It could be higher, I don't know. Okay? They'd kill them. I don't know of any Jews in Syria anymore. I think they're all out. So, but they would kill them too, likely. They would kill the Americans. I watched videos of them chanting death to the Shia. That's the Shiites. They're headed to take out Syria, Iraq, and Iran. They hate Hezbollah and Hamas because they're friends with Iran, friends with Syria. They hate the Houthis in Yemen, again, friends with Iran, Iraq, and Syria. These are brutal killers. They burn people alive. They put people in animal cages, and they take a crane and they lower them in the water and drown them while they're locked in the cage. They cut heads off with dull knives and things like this. These are full-blown, criminally insane psychopaths. Okay? And now Israel has to beef up their border. Not exactly fight. We already have beefed it up before this happened, so maybe we knew it was going to happen. What do you think? So we're going to have to beef it up. That means tanks, mobile artillery, soldiers, big concrete walls, and stuff like that. Missile launchers. It's not going to be a major, big deal. It's going to be to stop any little spin-off idiots that want to go come and kill some Jews. 5, 10, 20, 30, something like that. It's not going to be to stop 11,000. That we'll see, and we'll bomb them. This is my dog food. Okay. One second. Hey, hi. Good. I started calling about 9 in the morning. I wanted to modify my order for today. I had 20 cans of Rafi, and one of the dogs doesn't want to eat it anymore. So I was asking him to substitute for 10 cans of Rafi, 10 cans of Manja, if you still have Manja. I mean in the can of Manja. You don't have any Manja. Okay, and you don't have any natural. Um, is there anything else you have? Yeah. Just be a minute, guys, but I got to do it for the dog. She doesn't want to eat the food anymore, and that's not good. I'm giving her sandwich meat, a lot of that, to compensate. No, is it any good? All right, can you take out 10 cans of Rafi and give me 10 cans of that? Is that okay? Well, how many grams are the regular cans? So these are smaller. Oh, okay. Well, I guess try, I get four, so give me 12 cans, I guess. And take 10 away from the Rafi, yeah. All right, and it'll still be able to come today, I hope. All right, and what's the status of getting the natural in again? Any word? Hello? Yeah, it might be this week, but you don't know. Are you going to get the Monge in again, or you don't know about that? Okay. How big are the cans of Monge you have? Do you have small cans or? Oh, the little flat ones. Yeah. No, I don't like that. No. All right, we'll try this new one and see what happens. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Bye bye. I don't know what's with the shortage of dog food. I don't get this, but I don't know what's wrong. Probably something to do with the Red Sea being closed or something. I don't know. All right. So what we see here is likely a lot of Bible prophecy being fulfilled. Now, there's a lot of now what we also are not listening hard enough as to what is Afghanistan going to do. They hate Iran. The Taliban are vicious, savage fighters that are very effective. They drove out Russia, for instance. They got America out of Afghanistan. They could join in. What about Azerbaijan and Armenia? Are they going to take sides? What about the stand countries? The United Arab League said we support Bashar Assad, but they didn't say they were going to do anything about it yet. Iran said they got to get into the fight in Syria. Now, is Iran going to send their air force down there? Their air force is a joke. They probably couldn't make it to Syria, let alone get back again. I wouldn't expect any aircraft. What about their Navy? Forget that. So what can they do? They can build an armored convoy and go from Iran to Iraq into Syria. This is an easy passage for them. Take a few days probably. And then they can engage fighting. However, the rebel forces have allies in Iraq. Iraq has closed their border with Syria because they don't want any cross-flow. They don't want the Syrian rebels coming in and fighting against the Iraqi government with the rebels in Iraq that are on the same side as the rebels in Syria. They don't want to see this happen, so they close the border. But they'll probably open the border to let Iran in because they're a puppet state to a great extent of Iran. So Iran's going to have to bring in not 2,000 or 3,000 troops. They're going to have to bring in numbers, many thousands, with tanks, armored personnel carriers, jeeps, trucks, medical, food, ammunition, very short-range Mickey Mouse missile launchers, stuff like that. And is America and UK with their bases in Syria going to be comfortable of, let's say it's 40 or 50,000 troops? Are they going to be comfortable with Iranian troops coming into Syria? I don't think so. Is Israel going to be comfortable? Not in the least. You see how crazy this is getting? And what is Russia going to do? The Russian soldiers are in retreat, as Bashar Assad's army is greatly in retreat. And Russia has bomber planes bombing locations there, but you can't win with just bombing. And it would appear to me that Israel, the UK, or America may be warning the rebels of the location of the bombers so they could take cover or get out of the area. Maybe not, maybe yes. Guys, one of the dogs is barking a lot. I gotta go, the old guy, Chief, I gotta go see what is going on. He could have got himself stuck someplace. It'll be very quick. I'll be right back. So we basically are in a situation here where Russia has to walk away from Syria or try to support Bashar Assad and his army to win back the day in Syria, which looks doubtful because major components of Bashar Assad's army are rebelling against Bashar Assad to overthrow him. So what in the world does Putin do? What does Putin do? I don't know what Putin's going to do. What the heck does he do? He's supposed to have 30,000 troops in Iran. I don't know how true it is. He could send them into Syria with Iran soldiers. And with Russian air support, he has long-range bombers he could launch easily out of Russia. They could go bomb Iran and get back, I think. What the heck does Putin do now? See, US, UK, and NATO are in on this. Turkey's against Russia now. Turkey controls a pincher point that connects the Black Sea to the Mediterranean called the Bosphorus Straits. It's, a few kilometers across. All Turkey has to do to close it is position several artillery pieces on the shore. If the ships try to cross it against his wishes, they just fire artillery at the boats. That's it. The Russian boats don't have 16-inch artillery pieces. They got missiles. You build 3-foot thick concrete bunkers or 6-foot thick, whatever they want. Put the artillery piece in it with a couple of hundred shells. And you shoot at the boats, and the boats could shoot small warhead missiles at the concrete all day long. It's easy. It's child's play. You can put missile launchers up. Turkey has aircraft. You can bomb the boats. That cuts Putin off from moving his warships from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean and vice versa. So the ships in the Black Sea are kind of stuck in the Black Sea for a long time. This is very important if NATO is going to have a war with Russia. America just gave Japan HIMARS and other long-range missiles. What did Putin do? He threatened Japan. Isn't this getting a little stupid with Putin threatening everybody? America, the UK, NATO countries, now Japan. It's getting a little dumb. Putin's threats are rather empty now. His NOTAM expired. He never did this big, IRBM missile launch at Ukraine, did he? No. It's suspected that these new IRBM missiles that Putin has is just a token amount. Like he might have 10 or 12 or something like that. It doesn't appear that he has hundreds or anything. Putin doesn't know what to do at this point. He doesn't know. He wants to be able to protect North Korea. He wants to attack Japan now. He wants to attack America and NATO now. Putin is like Iran with the threats. He's writing checks he can't cash. Putin wants to keep his best military soldiers and assets in Russia to protect Mother Russia from being overrun. Yesterday there was a train inside Ukraine, in Ukraine. It was operated by NATO. I'm rather certain this railway runs from Poland into Ukraine. NATO was running a bunch of ATACMS and other, I think the Storm Shadow or something, missiles from Poland into Ukraine. When the train was in Ukraine, Putin destroyed it. Now, it was a NATO train in Ukraine. So he's thinking, probably correctly, that NATO will not interpret this as an attack on a NATO state because it happened in Ukraine. So he's very hesitant about attacking NATO. So he's going to save North Korea from South Korea and America. He's going to save Syria from the rebels. He's going to protect Mother Russia, and he's going to annihilate Ukraine. All at the same time. Wow. Putin's goose is about to be cooked. It's about over. But now we have to raise the possibility that the destruction of Iraq, Syria, and Iran, Elam in Jeremiah 49, is actually going to be performed by some of these Muslim countries. Who else will these Muslim countries overrun other than Syria, Iraq, and Iran? Jordan, because while they're Sunni, they don't like the dictator angle. They could attack Jordan, maybe not. They could attack Saudi Arabia, maybe not. Again, it's a dictator king, the same with Oman and the UAE. Syria reached out to the UAE for help, and I really don't know one way or the other if the UAE will help them. I really don't know. The UAE is like blood brothers with Saudi Arabia. And the Houthis in Yemen, which is a puppet state of Iran, are threatening Saudi Arabia all the time. It's a perpetual threat. They've already had a war. In the last, since October 7th, on 2 occasions, they have attacked the Aramco oil field with missiles and caused damage that required it to be closed for a few days and then rebuilt. So Saudi Arabia doesn't like being pushed around by Iran and the Houthis. But it appears the Saudis' goal in life is to have the best that money could buy and just sit around like bumps on a log and lavish in their wealth and, silly stuff like that. It's curious when you watch the videos of the rebels, they're sitting there singing, shouting Al Akbar, Al Akbar. And the people they're killing are also shouting Al Akbar, Al Akbar. So the scripture, a house divided unto itself shall not stand, definitely comes into mind. So when the church people see Iran, who they confuse with Persia, getting destroyed, and they see Russia getting destroyed, their Gog and Magog church narrative for today goes out the window. Are they going to go to the truth of Zechariah 12? I doubt it. I doubt it. Is China going to get into the fight with North Korea and bail out Russia? Is North Korea going to send troops to Syria to help Russia? It's a possibility, but North Korean troops fighting in Ukraine, they're doing very badly. Fighting an enemy in the Middle East they're going to find that probably 50% harder. It'd be very difficult for them. What's China going to do? I don't know. It's too soon. Don't know. Russia's next move is going to undoubtedly be more bombings. Not going to get too far. They can't bomb residential cities and stuff like that, and these rebels will take advantage of the human hostage aspect of locating missile launches and artillery and stuff like that in residential neighborhoods. Now, Putin may lose control and just start killing civilians to get to them. He does things like that if he has to. What could bring America and the UK into the war? Well, a retaliation against Turkey on Turkish soil for what they're doing in Syria would activate NATO, all for one and one for all. Could that happen? Yeah. Turkey and Syria got a border. They just got to start getting into Turkey. And then he can push the NATO button. And now you got a massive mess on your hands. Jeremiah 30, verse 11. The big important scripture the church never teaches. Never teaches. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah, to save thee, speaking of Israel. And the word for save is Yasha, and that would mean salvation yet. More English and Hebrew don't flow together, okay? But if I was going to put it in choppy English, I'd say salvation you. That's Yasha. That's the root word of Yeshua's name, Yahshua. Save thee. Though I make a full end of all the nations. A full end is just the end of these nations. Not every person that lives in them, but the countries are going to be destroyed. They're not going to have the governments and stuff like that. Their armies will be busted up, the whole 9 yards. A full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee. Now, the Jews have historically been scattered in every country in Europe, most of the Middle East, parts of Africa, particularly North Africa and South Africa. We have relatives in South Africa. And I believe they've been in every South and Central American country, and of course North America and parts of Asia. I would guess, just as a guess, 125 nations. 93 in the UN are for a Palestinian state. So they're making a statement to Jehovah. We want to take the land you gave by covenant to Israel in Genesis 15 and give it to the Muslims worshiping another god. You think Jehovah is very fond of that behavior? Yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Well, haven't we been punished since October 7th? Pretty much. But it's also a year of recompenses. He's paying back the nations. Over what? Over the controversy over Israel. Is there a scripture that tells you that? There is. Does the church teach that scripture? They don't. Can I read it to you now? Yes, Isaiah 34:8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance. Do any of the churches teach this? No. They make the people get confused with this over the day of the Lord, the great day of the Lord, which is Gog and Magog. It's not. The Lord's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. That's Israel. Zion, the dry parched place, Zion in English. They never teach this. People are unaware. The day of vengeance is associated with the year of redemption in Isaiah 63, verse 3 or 4, I'll read. It's verse 4. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. That's the year of redemption. The church never teaches the year of redemption, year of recompenses, let alone the fact that the day of vengeance is associated to both of them. They don't teach that. They don't want you to know. On purpose. The church is on the verge of falling apart. I would say in the next coming days, people are gonna be pulling their hair out in the church. Whoa, Russia's going down. Oh, where's Gog and Magog? You know, we want to see the Jews get killed while we go up to heaven, and then we're gonna come back down as spiritual gods and reign over them with a rod of iron. And the scripture says that Yeshua will reign over the heathen nations with a rod of iron, not the Israelites. Their doctrines are all butt backwards. The gospel will go forth from the nations to Israel. It doesn't. It goes forth from Jerusalem to the nations. They don't preach the gospel. They preach another gospel. How could that be? Well, they also preach another Jesus. How could that be? Is that in the Bible? It is, but they never teach it. 2 Corinthians 11:4. For if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus, there it is, whom we have not preached, or if you receive another spirit which you have not received, you better believe you're getting unclean spirits in these churches, or another gospel which we have not accepted, you will bear well with him. You will bear with him. You put up with him. That's why I wouldn't step inside the church any sooner than I'd go to an opium den. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I try to help some of these people. Very, very few are helpable. Very few. Satan's false teachers are preaching to the tares, not the wheat. But Satan's as stupid as the day is long anyway, so why would his disciples not be stupid? So you're at a very big event unfolding right before your eyes. Damascus shall be a ruinous heap. Lebanon, open up your doors. Let the cedars of Lebanon burn. That's happened. The ceasefire is not falling apart, okay? I know how Netanyahu operates. There's some small number of Hezbollah that are trying to shoot a rocket or a drone or something into Israel and artillery shell, and we pick it up and we just blow them up. It's not a massive effort from Hezbollah or anything like that. Will the Lebanese army ever actually take control? Probably never. Will the UN troops take control? No. So Israel will just stay there and monitor the situation. And I don't know what they'll do at the end of 60 days, because before that, Trump will be sworn in, if that's going to still happen. I don't know. And I don't know what Trump is going to say. He'd probably say, I want a ceasefire. Israel say, well, we already signed the ceasefire. They won't adhere to it. What do you think Trump will say then? Go blow them up. What do you think he'll say? They don't want a ceasefire. Warn them. I'll send an emissary over there to warn them. They don't listen, or they don't want to meet the emissary. Just blow a few thousand of them up, and then we'll talk to them again. That's what Trump would likely say. The same with Hamas. You don't want to return the hostages. Children, women, men, elderly, civilians. It's against international law. If you don't return the hostages right now, we'll blow you up. We'll assume the hostages are never coming back, and we'll just destroy Gaza. Or he'll say, I'll let Israel occupy Gaza, or something like that. That's how Trump's going to be. He's going to fly you off the handle like a bull in a china shop against them. I'm Donald Trump. And you got to listen to me. And they'll tell Donald to go take a long walk on a short pier. And Trump will say, oh, yeah, I'll show you. I'm the Donald. And he will. Would Trump save Bashar Assad? I doubt it. Now Trump's threatening 100% tariffs on people working in the BRICS new money system, where they can buy and sell goods to the other BRIC members without using US dollar or the euro. So Trump is saying, if you participate in that, anything you sell in the United States has 100% tariff. So if you're going to sell a pair of pants for $20, it's going to be $40. So the sales of these foreign goods in America are going to whoop. Food from other countries that are in BRICS will go whoop. You know, anything. Imagine Mercedes, BMW motorcycles, Fiat, any of these cars, Citroën, if they participate in BRICS, which they won't, they're in NATO, they won't, it would be 100% tax. So, you know, there's going to be trouble for them. But you see, here we go with Trump's failed methods, sanctions. They never, ever worked. Ever. And he's still going back with sanctions. Trump is probably well aware of the inadequacy of the American military. Trump's normal modus operandi is basically, walk mightily and carry a big stick, you know, and now he's trying to call the big stick sanctions. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me see what else I had in my notes that I haven't discussed. I got a prayer request. I forgot this. I'm sorry. For AP, Alpha Papa AP, Alpha Papa AP. Pray that the landlord does not sell the property, but if so, finds easily a good place to live. For AP Alpha Papa, pray the landlord doesn't sell the property, but if so, AP can find a good, suitable place to live easily. Okay. I forgot that. All right. Let me see what else I got. So I worked on this pretty hard this morning, trying to get a good understanding of what's going on there in Syria with Bible prophecy. They do have chemical weapons now, and Bashar Assad, with the help of Russia, has used them on the Syrian population. And I think they're going to try to get payback on Bashar Assad and use them on the Syrian people again. So remember, you could expect Israel and America and maybe the UK to start bombing strategic military installations in Syria to stop the rebels from getting these weapons. The rebels are also stealing weapons from Bashar Assad, and they take over bases because his soldiers flee, and then they have the weapons. So I don't know how many weapons they have and how extensive it is, but I know they got tanks anyway, which is basically an artillery piece. The country of Georgia, not the state near Florida, the country of Georgia near Russia is in chaos right now. Their government is stopping their attempts to join the European Union, and they're protesting. They burned, to some extent anyway, it could be limited, the parliament building of Georgia, and they're out in the streets protesting violently and madly. So there's trouble with Georgia. I'm reading my notes here. If they get Bashar Assad's palace, that's really going to be the beginning of the Damascus shall be a ruinous heap. I really have a feeling that you're not going to see Putin do a lot of anything about what's going on in Russia. Bombers are safe. The chances of them getting taken down are pretty light. All right, let me take a look and see what updates are coming in on this, because everything's happening so fast. So let me take a quick look at my social media here. Russia in Syria, Russia just attacked residential areas in Idlib, Syria. That's where the rebels were. So, like I told you, Russia, when desperate, will bomb residential areas. He just did it. The Syrian rebels just captured a Russian-made Panther or Panzer air defense system, an anti-aircraft missile system. Not a very good one. They captured it in Aleppo. So they'll try to use it to take down Russian jets, and it probably will fail. Well, now they've got aircraft, the rebels. They have something called an L-39 light attack aircraft. This is going of an amazing, unprecedented rate of speed. I'm sure God had a hand in this. It's so fast. They've also captured helicopters from Bashar Assad. So now they have air power. I don't think they have air dominance, but they got air power. This is amazing. The rebels, so they are close to Israel now, but they're in no mood to. They have no ability now to attack Israel. We're just watching them carefully. If they tried anything, they would get blasted with artillery, mortars, and bombs immediately. We're getting more and more reports of Bashar Assad's soldiers abandoning their posts and just running away. It's probably not very difficult for them to put civilian clothes on and just get lost. The rumor going around that the radios and pagers were blowing up that belonged to the Syrian army has not been verified. I don't know if it's true or not true. It may be false, it may be true. At this point, I would say ignore it because I don't know. It's not verified. But there were pictures of it, so it could be verified. I did see pictures of the damage. So I'm up in the air on that one. But I think it was probably true. I don't know for sure. Um, the rebels have taken control of several airports already in Syria. So they have some aircraft. I don't know if they have pilots, but they could probably muster up pilots from somebody. Maybe they'll just try to take off and think it's not so hard. They probably wouldn't know how to take off. Let's see what else I could find here. It's just shocking to see things happen this fast. Yemen tried to launch a missile at us this morning. We took it down. 4 people got hurt running to the bomb shelters, though. Not from shrapnel, from tripping, falling. This is a common injury we get with these red alerts, unfortunately. Probably the best thing is to walk rapidly and not run. Many billions of dollars spent by Russia and Iran in Syria are gone now. Just rebels got it. It appears that 1,000 of the rebels have been killed already. And that makes sense. Let me see if I can find any other good stuff here. There really is no great social media for this. The Russian social media could be helpful. Um, the Muslim terrorist social media is full of lies. You know, if you believe them, there's every Israeli already got killed 3 times over, and the IDF is destroyed. And you know, I mean, you can't. It's just absurd to listen to them. Um, it's tough getting good information on this war right now. I'll tell you the truth. It's not easy. Um, but it is flowing. Um, there is a good flow of information. Let me see another place what I can pick up. But this is actually favorable to Israel because these rebels are going to be killing each other. And then when they're finished with Syria, they're going to be afraid about getting attacked from the rebels in Iran that are opposed, in Iraq, so they'll go to Iraq. And they're going to get very mad at Iran as time goes on, and they'll go after Iran. So they're going to do this. And they're going to help us. After they're finished and they got this territory back, they're going to throw America out. And America may not want to go. America's right around those oil fields in northeast Syria, and they're not going to want to give that up. There are protests against Netanyahu in Israel, but I wouldn't. They're not out of control or anything like that. I don't see it going anywhere. There's been protests since October 7th, 2023. And go someplace else. I think that's really about it on the updates. I'm not getting too much else on it. So Israel is in a new phase now where we're not getting missiles and rockets to speak of, you know, and we're watching another aspect of prophecy unfold, Jeremiah 49, which is very, very, very fitting with the year of recompenses. Great fit. And we're watching it. And Trump is trying to run the show, and he hasn't even taken office yet. Um, China is going to try to hang back, I think, until Trump gets in and see if they can make a deal with Trump somehow. Which they can, but Trump's going to want to be the overall big winner of the deal. If BRICS specifically, well, the BRICS members in general, continue to start with their alternative currency to avoid trading in oil, natural gas, and other commodities without using the US dollar and the euro, Trump is not going to be pleased with them at all. So they're at a collision course. Can this lead to an attack on Iran? Absolutely. These rebels are saying they want to get Iran. There's going to be other countries that are going to help them. What's Pakistan going to do? What's Pakistan going to do? I don't know. What's Armenia going to do? What's Azerbaijan going to do? What are the stand countries going to do? What's Belarus going to do? What's NATO going to do? What's China going to do? What's North Korea going to do? You see, these are all right now wild cards. How does this tie to the destruction of the daughter of Babylon? Well, if the daughter of Babylon is not needed to destroy Iran, Iraq, and Syria, well, then the daughter of Babylon could be headed for the chopping block any day now. That's America, by the way. Church never teaches that, which should be disgusting to you. You should be super fed up with the church. And all the false teachers that won't teach you the truth, they're part of them, and they're your enemies. They're trying to lead you astray. The rate of speed is crazy. I remember I was asking you people just before this thing really broke out to pray, ask the Lord to pray for mercy on the Israelites and all the true believers, and pray that the two witnesses start working soon openly in Israel, and pray that you get to come to Israel, the next great Exodus, soon. And I reiterate, please pray that again. Pray for God to shed his mercy on Israel soon. Pray for the two witnesses to begin openly working soon. Okay? Pray for the next Exodus soon. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the next temple, which is not New Jerusalem. Pray for the glory of God of Israel to come to the next temple. Read Ezekiel 43. Read Malachi 3. Pray for this. You should want to. I can't demand you or tell you, you should want to. We started praying like this and then this happened. Is it that God really wants us to so-called stand in the gap for Israel and all the true believers and pray? Because the church people don't generally understand what to pray for. They'll pray for Israel and all that, but we need to do it. We're the ones with the true gospel. Is God listening to people that are preaching false gospels? And a December 25th Jesus, which is a pagan holiday, that moved the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday, which is impossible to move it, because the Sabbath is a holy day, and you've got to treat it as a holy day and do no work. And it was the day that God rested, the seventh day. You can't change that to a Sunday, which in the Hebrew Bible is the first day of the week, Yom Rishon. Yom is day, Rishon is first, or the head of the week, the beginning of the week. Can't do that. They did it. And that's in the Ten Commandments. So they violate the Ten Commandments, which is the same would be violating having another God before you, adultery, murder, and so forth. False witness. They don't care. Did Yeshua violate the Sabbath? No. Did the apostles? No. Did the churches? Yes. Go figure that one out. I can't. They're not real. They want to teach sin, the sinful church. The sinful churches. The rabbis aren't much better. They're different, but they're not any better. Seems they're all cut out of the same satanic cloth. Let's see what's happening here. got rid of some nincompoops. I think this is really a sign that that the year of redemption is at the doors, even knocking at the doors. And the church doesn't have any idea what the year of redemption is. You know, they're almost beyond help. You know that they're not beyond help, but sometimes I think it could be. They don't know nothing. At least the Jews who reject Yeshua know, and the New Testament, they reject that too. They know the Old Testament. The church people don't have an accurate understanding of the New Testament, and they have next to no understanding of the Old Testament. It's unbelievable. But God closed the eyes of the Jews and stopped up their ears. He says it several times in the scriptures, lest they turn to him and be healed. And that's the 2,000-year punishment in Hosea 6:1 and 2 that the church never teaches about. But guess what? Time's just about up. Yep. So it's nice here in Israel now. We got, for the most part, peace. Although the soldiers are having skirmishes in Lebanon, it's nothing serious. And they are fighting still in Gaza, but Israel itself is not being attacked. Okay? Not being attacked. Still a very, very hard, difficult place to live, you know. Thinking. So I will keep you guys informed about what's going on in Syria. I may start doing multiple live streams during the day, so you might want to subscribe. I will post these live streams on Telegram. If you want to get on my Telegram, send me an email. My email address is at the bottom of the description box. It's israelgiving with the number 7 at gmail.com. Just put Telegram in the subject header and I'll send you the invite link. But you need to have the Telegram app for that. It's a free app. I think it's called Telegram Messenger or something. It's free, and you can get it at the Play Store and the App Store. It's easy to get it. And then you just you install the link, the app, and then you just click on the invite link and you're in. And I also have Twitter, but I don't usually bother much with Twitter. I put the YouTube videos up there and I have a good feed for Twitter, but it's not anything I really put my time in. Twitter does censor, and they censor, in my opinion, rather heavily. And they only show your posts really to people that are already subscribed to you or following you, they call it. So it's like a rigged game. It's very difficult to get anywhere with Twitter. In Telegram, I have tons of people that come into the Telegram site, and then when they realize I'm not pro Schofield, pro Darby, pro having a divisional denomination, pro preaching another Jesus, pro the gospel, they leave me. So the Telegram doesn't grow very much. It's under 700. YouTube grows. YouTube does good. I don't bother with Rumble and TikTok because they're kind of goofy sites, and you have to have 10,000 members to live stream, and I don't have that over there. So I just stay away from it, I think. Or you need 1,000 to live stream, something like that. So I just don't bother with them. Telegram is uncensored for real. And I put things up there that I don't put elsewhere. So you could access the Telegram. It's free if you want it. Let me see if I'm getting any questions. I don't think I am. So you're seeing prophecy fulfilled. Let's get you the verse for Damascus and Ruinous Heap. I'm quoting the scripture, but I'm not giving you the verse. I will now. I'm not sure where it is. I'll look it up. Isaiah 17, that's what I thought. All right. Isaiah 17. The burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aurora are forsaken, they shall be for flocks which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Okay, let's see where this Aurora is, if I can easily figure it out. Not sure on this. Let's see. It could be in Syria or Jordan. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus. There it is. And the remnant of Syria, they shall be as the glory of the children of Israel. The remnant of Syria, they shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith Jehovah of hosts. So there's probably lost tribes in Syria that are going to be reunited to Israel. And in that day, they had forced, they forced people into being Islamic and stuff like that, And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall be way lean. And it shall be as when the harvestman gathers a great field, it shall be. This is the past. And then it switches back to, it says, and at that day, that's probably Zechariah 12, that day shall a man look to his maker, and his eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel. And he shall not look to the altars, the work of his hands, neither shall respect that which his fingers have made, either the graves or the images. In that day shall his strong cities be as a forsaken bough, and an uppermost branch which they left because of the children of Israel, and there shall be desolation. Now it's not talking about the Israelis, it's someone else. All right, so Damascus is going to be destroyed, and it looks like that could happen today or tomorrow. or the day after, or the day after that. Lebanon, open up your doors, let the cedars of Lebanon burn. That's already happening. The Palestinians, they're in Gaza, they're pretty well defunct. Yemen or Edom is going to get it. I mean, we're on our way. But when's Jeremiah 30, verse 11 going to kick in? Well, I believe the daughter of Babylon, America, has to get destroyed first, because if Jeremiah 30:11 happens, I don't know who's going to destroy the daughter of Babylon, because they would have already been busted out. So I believe the daughter of Babylon is coming closer and closer to meeting destruction at this point. That's how I see it. So please pray for me and my wife for our peace, safety, protection, and joy. She's healing up nicely. Keep the prayers going. Chief's healing up really nice. He's going up and down the steps now pretty good. Not all of them, but some of them. Please pray for his healing to continue, for Chief the dog. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for better videos. And keep praying for mercy on Israel and all the true believers. Pray for the next great Exodus. And pray for you to come on it and be in Israel. Pray for the two witnesses to work openly. Soon, very soon. Pray for this soon. God wants us to pray for this. So just keep praying for it, The church isn't going to pray for the two witnesses to start working soon. They're praying for the tribulation and their rapture. They're all confused. So it's up to us, These signs shall follow those that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. How many people in the churches around the world ever cast out devils? I rest my case. These signs shall follow those that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. How many people in the churches do you know that ever cast out a demon or ever would? Who gets stuck on the outside of New Jerusalem but the fearful? I rest my case. All right, so I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And I will be definitely updating Telegram about Syria. And if big stuff happens, and I'm pretty well expecting it to happen, I'll start doing various live streams on YouTube at different times of the day and put them up on Telegram. But Telegram is going to be where you're going to get the best updates as to what's happening with Syria. And I'm updating it at this point every hour or two. And it's all free. The app's free. Telegram's free. It's all free. There's no ads that I see. Occasionally Telegram puts an ad out there, but it's basically a free thing, and there's no censorship. So that's it, guys, and be excited and lift up your head. Your redemption draweth nigh. It's at the doors now. And I'm out, and I'll keep you guys posted. I'm watching this like a hawk. Okay? I'm out.